have two of our employees in the enclosure with our yearling Holly. And so I ask if any of you do come out onto the observation deck to please remain as quiet as possible. She's a very timid little bear and responds a lot to noise. PTZ driver Holly Bear is to the left of the pond. And when I mention PTZ driver, that is a worldwide volunteer who operates our pan, tilt, and zoom camera. Right now we're trying to get Holly Bear down in front of the viewing windows for everyone to see her. We also have Ted Bear in a pen, and we'll be letting him out probably in about 5 or so minutes to get her a little more acclimated to being with other bears that we have here. Holly Bear has been out a few times in the last few days out in front like this, and every day we see she's growing in confidence to come out in front of a crowd, get used to smells and noises of people, and also we've been finding she's very responsive to her reflection in the viewing windows. And so we're trying to get her a little bit more used to that. And one way we do that is to have her two mama bears, or Heidi and Sharon, out with her. These are our two employees that she trusts the most and has bonded with the deepest. We received Holly Bear December 27th of 2013, so she is the newest addition we have to the North American Bear Center. She came to us from Arkansas, and we have yet to see her go and swim in the pond. So as you'll notice, both Sharon and Heidi have some very stylish boots on, and so they're trying to get Holly Bear to experience the pond a little bit and see if we can get her to play in there. In her pen we have a hose we use to fill up a little tub that she can sit in and her water bucket, and we have actually got her to play with that water. She'll kind of stand up on her back two legs and paw at it, and so we're trying to get her to get used to this pond and see if she'll actually go in and swim. We have three other bears here who do utilize this pond when it's nice and sunny out like it is today. It's one of the nicer days we've had in Ely, Minnesota. It's probably around 70-75 degrees in the sun. And a black bear's coat can get very, very warm. All of our bears still have their winter coats, and to the touch they can be above 100 degrees. So on hot days like this, you'll most likely see some of our bears swimming, relaxing in the pond to cool off. Holly Bear, though, has yet to get in this pond, but I'm sure with the help of her two surrogate mothers. Oh, she's making her first steps in. PTZ driver, focus on Holly on the center of the pond. She's about ankle deep. And we have a nice little rubber ducky for her to play with. Lucky Bear, our 7-year-old male, also likes to play with this little rubber ducky and has one just like it in his own pen. Holly Bear just got about chest deep and now is shaking off the water. I'm sure that felt very good on her hot little coat. Black bears can outswim, outrun, and outclimb people. They can't run fast for very long, but when they do, they can definitely outrun a human. And from birth, when they leave the den with their mothers, they can climb trees. And Holly Bear here is an excellent climber. And she climbs trees usually when she's out in the enclosure. Black Bear's favorite trees to climb are white pines. They have nice sturdy bark that their claws can grip, and so they can climb pretty high up, and they usually use these white pines for refuge and to get away from danger. Black bears are very timid animals, as you might notice in our little Holly Bear. She always looks to her little moms before she does anything. Her ears are always kind of moving. And black bears have an excellent sense of hearing, and they rely heavily on their hearing to detect danger or identify things in their environment. They also rely heavily on their sense of smell, which is also much, much greater than humans. They have an extra organ on the roof of their mouth that allows them to smell much greater. So sometimes you'll see a bear open its mouth a little bit and kind of look around. That's probably trying to get a better smell of what's around them and what's in their environment. Black bears can also see in color and have excellent nighttime vision. Holly bear now is on our rock den. PTZ driver, she's on top of the rock den, and I believe Sharon threw some peanuts in the shell, which is something we feed all of our bears here at the North American Bear Center. Some other things that we like to feed our bears: we give them romaine lettuce in the morning, some carrots usually, and a raw egg to get some protein and just to have a nice little treat. Only about 10% of a black bear's diet is protein, and in the wild that protein usually comes from immature insects, so ant pupae, bee pupae, things like that. Otherwise, most of their diet is vegetation, berries, and nuts. So here at the North American Bear Center, we feed our bears fruits like apples, pears, kiwis, red grapes, green grapes, all that yummy stuff. Also give them mixed nuts, peanuts in and out of the shell, Brazil nuts, which they all seem to really like. And then sometimes we put medicine and things like that in tuna, which is another minor source of protein that they get in their diet. We also have some wild berries growing in our enclosure that Lucky Bear especially likes to eat. We also have some white clover planted to the left of the enclosure and a nice grass mound off to the right that many of our bears like to eat. Holly bear now is still on top of our rock den, just kind of sniffing around. She probably smells our other bears we have here. I've mentioned a few of them. We have Lucky Bear, who is our 7-year-old male, and he was brought to us in 2007, and he actually shares a fence. His pen and Holly's pen share a fence, and so we've seen some very positive interaction, kind of playful interaction between these two, and hope that they will be playmates in the future. We also have Ted Bear, who is our 17-year-old male. He is our largest bear we have here. He is 549 pounds. We weighed him yesterday. And he's our love bug. He likes people, I think, more than black bears. We also have Honey Bear, and she is our cinnamon phase black bear. She is our oldest bear we have here at the North American Bear Center. She is 18 years old. And in captivity, black bears can live into their 30s. There have been records. Oh, Holly bear's climbing up the pat tree, PTZ driver. As you can see, it's a very simple task for her to climb up those trees. And I believe the staff has put in some red grapes and peanuts in that little platform for her to get. But she climbs pretty much without effort. And she's probably just sniffing all the people on the deck. Like I said, black bears use their nose a lot to identify what people are or what another bear is or where they are, and so she's probably getting a lot of really good smells right now. And I think this is the first time little Holly bear has climbed up this tree, so that's really, really, really good news. And this is not unlike what a wild bear would do, especially at her age. She is about 18 months old, and around 18 months is when mother bears kick out their little yearlings. So she would be on her own in the wild at this age, and she would be kind of on the bottom of the totem pole. And as you guys might have seen, she just kind of pulled off a branch. And we think sometimes she does that out of nervous behavior, or sometimes it's just playful behavior. The other day she climbed up a cedar and she was stripping bark off at the top, and crawling all the way back down and then dropping it, looking at Heidi, one of her surrogate mothers, and then climbing all the way back up and peeling some more bark off. So she's very, very playful, a very energetic little bear. And she has some pretty big claws, so she can climb very high up really fast. She's trying to grab some more branches down and carry them off. I would like to thank you guys for being so quiet on the deck. That's very helpful. I'm sure she's trying to figure out where my voice is coming from, and I'm kind of hiding in the corner over here, but black bears are very smart animals. They have excellent long-term memory. And so once she figures out she can climb this tree and get some food off that platform, she'll remember that and probably do it again. Oh, she got it. Yum, yum, yum. I think red grapes and peanuts in the shells are some of her favorite foods, and this is very similar to what black bears would do in the wild. They'd have to climb up a tree or try to problem solve and figure out how to get their yummy treats or their food. She's going back up. I'm just going to go off mic so we can all just watch Holly and she doesn't have to listen to my voice anymore. But PTZ driver, she's right in front in the pat tree, climbing her way up and down. Alright, I'm back. I'd just like to talk a little bit more about bears in the wild versus captivity and our bears. Hi, Holly. So Honey and Ted would not be seen climbing up this far at all. They usually don't climb anymore. However, Lucky Bear, our 7-year-old male, will definitely try and climb trees. He's actually seen a few days ago climbing some quaking aspens over to the right of the enclosure. And he was doing similar things to what Holly's doing, kind of just biting branches, checking out the scene, sniffing out what's around him. But Holly Bear is being a brave little bear right now. Like I said, when we got her in December, she was a very, very fearful bear. She was very scared of people. And over the past, few months, we have been working extremely hard to get her not only used to people and trusting of people, but trusting of other bears and just used to this enclosure. Black bears in the wild. Do you have a question? I'll ask if there's any questions on the deck from anyone. We have a few groups here today, so any questions from anyone? Yeah, you guys. What are your questions? The question was, how do bears climb with their paws? Well, if you can kind of see, Holly Bear has very long claws, and that's a characteristic of most black bears, or I should say all black bears. And so they're long and curved, which makes them really, really strong and makes climbing pretty easy, especially when she's only about 85 pounds, so she can climb up really fast. All right, any other questions? The question was, how do bears get down from the trees? Well, as you can see, they usually go rear end first. They never go head first, and they kind of just stick their claws in and kind of hop down. They usually go a lot slower down than they do up. It's a little more awkward, I think, for bears to climb down because they can't really see where they're going either. Yes? How do you get the bears in here? The question was, how do we get the bears in here? Well, like into the whole enclosure? Yeah, Well, usually they come to us and they're tranquilized, and so they're usually asleep, and then these giant kind of pet boxes. And then once we get them here, it kind of depends, but like Holly Bear came to us and she had this giant moving crate she was in. She woke up, it was December, so we tried to get her to hibernate right away. So we put her in a separate little pen, and each of the 4 black bears here have a separate pen, and in that pen they have a separate den in which they hibernate in. And so she went right to sleep again, but most of the time they have to be usually tranquilized to get them here. But good question. Any other questions? The question was, how do bears climb up fast? You know, bears are very, very strong animals. Now, Holly Bear doesn't look very big from here, does she? Only 85 pounds, but she's stronger than probably any human. She could probably knock over when she's playing. She's very, very, very strong. And so we have to be careful, and we're actually training her that playing with people and playing with bears are 2 very different things. And she probably doesn't even realize her own strength right now. And so we're trying to get her to learn to discern, okay, this isn't okay for me to play this rough with people. So because they're so strong, they can climb up trees really, really fast. All right, any other questions? These are good questions, guys. Yeah. Good question. I should have explained myself a little bit. So tranquilized, usually they just put in some medicine and they fall asleep for a long time. And so they're just kind of taking a really long nap. And it's a lot easier to move. I mean, she came from Arkansas, so that's pretty far away. It was a long... All right, good questions. How about this? How about you? What was that? The question was, why do bears go in the woods? That's another excellent question. Well, bears go in the woods because they're kind of fearful, timid animals. So they don't like to be seen. They're very solitary unless they have cubs or are trying to mate. And a black bear will sense a human is around before a human even realizes a bear is around. And so the woods are a perfect spot for a bear to be to not be seen. And I see we've brought Ted Bear out. He is our 550-pound male. And he is our little love bug. He loves people. PTZ driver, he's right by the cedar pile. And Ted Bear is 17 years old. And him and Honey Bear, actually, they were born on a game farm and purchased by some folks in Wisconsin. And then insurance changed a little bit, and so he could not be released back to the wild, and so we received him in 2007 along with Honey Bear. And as you might notice, Holly Bear is kind of fearful of Ted, and so it might take a little bit for her to come down out of that tree. We all know Ted Bear's not trying to hurt her or anything, but all she sees is a 550-pound black bear. And once again, this is exactly what a little yearling 2-year-old, almost 2-year-old would do in the wild. They would see another bear and instantly climb a tree. That is their greatest defense mechanism. And most of the time, if a yearling comes in a territory of another female, they'll be treed almost instantly, even if that female is their own mother. Black bears live in a matriarchal society, and so whatever the females say, go. But Honey Bear, I think, is still trying to assess the situation. And clearly Ted Bear is not too interested in her. He's just kind of grazing some clover, things like that. He might go get a drink out of the pond or something, but... I just got a question about how long have bears been around. You know, I bet you Sharon could answer that question a lot better than I could. She knows a lot about the historical history, I guess, of black bears. They've been around a long time. In Minnesota, we have about 25,000 black bears total. And in North America, there are over 700,000 black bears, so they're very numerous. Another question I just got was what black bears eat in the wild. I may not have elaborated on that before enough. Most of their diet is vegetation. Otherwise, berries and nuts comprise most of their diet. We get a lot of questions here about if they eat fish or meat, raw meat, and they really don't. If there is a wolf kill or something like that, they might eat the remains of, let's say, a deer. But most of the time, they eat bug larvae, vegetation, berries, and nuts. Alright, well, I'll let you guys enjoy our 2 berries we have out right now. I will be milling around the exhibit hall if you guys have any more questions. Oh, it looks like Ted's going to go for a swim. So on behalf of me and everyone at the North American Berry Center, I would once again like to thank our worldwide volunteers who are listening right now. They put in hours and hours of work to dedicate time and energy to making these broadcasts possible. So once again, I would like to thank them. And everyone here at the North American Berry Center definitely appreciates it. I would like to mention that everyone who got a pass today, it is a day pass, and we're open until 7 o'clock tonight. So feel free to go into Ely, check out some other stuff, go get a bite to eat, and come on back before 7, and your pass will still be good. We have more enrichments at 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock. The 4 o'clock enrichment will be worldwide once again. And with that, I'd like to thank everyone here at the North American Berry Center and our volunteers. And I hope you enjoyed this enrichment and have a wonderful day, especially in Ely. We finally got some sun. Thank you.